Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this diagonal stripe zigzag bracelet. And now I call it diagonal stripe. You can see that the stripes are not really diagonal, just because it uses the same knotting method as a diagonal stripe or a candy stripe bracelet. However, with a little bit of a change that gives us this funky zigzag pattern. So if you guys like this and want to see how it's done, just keep watching. Alright, so for today's craft, like every bracelet, you are going to need some string in your colors of choice. Today I'm going to be using this navy blue DMC floss, this white Friends Forever floss, and these two tones of green, which are loops and threads. All of these were from giant packs at like Walmart. DMC was an individual from Walmart, but you can get this at any sewing or craft store generally. It's really easy to find. You can also use any colored string you want. You can use thread, you can use yarn, you could try using like Rex lace if you wanted to. I'm not sure if the end result would look much different. If you've tried before, let me know. Otherwise, you will also need something to anchor your bracelet, whether that's tape, whether that's clipboard, or a safety pin. For me, I like using a safety pin, so that is what I'll be using today. And of course you need to cut that string, so you're gonna need some scissors, some snippies to get the job done. So first things first is we're going to cut up our string. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off my little bobbin, hold one end and pull the other all the way across my body, and then I'm going to add maybe 1 arm's length on top of that, just to make sure I've got a lot there. Ooh, I'm actually really feeling this color combo. So I've gone ahead and I've tied an overhand knot in my string for that top loop, and I'm going to pin it down. Okay. So now we're gonna set our strings up like we would for a regular candy stripe bracelet. So I'm going to start, white is going to be my thicker band. So I'm gonna start with my white string, and then I think I'm going to go the 2 tones of green. I think I'm gonna go dark green, light green, and then the dark blue, and then I'm going to set them up the same. So white, dark green, light green, and then blue. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up our knotting string, remembering we work left to right, and we're going to go ahead and do forwards knots all across our strings. So to do a forwards knot, you're going to hold your base string tight. You're going to loop and make your 4 with your knotting string. And then you're going to pull that knotting string up through the loop. Pull it tight. And remember, you have to do that twice to complete 1 whole stitch or knot. So do that a second time. And now our white lays to the right hand side of our green thread. So we're gonna set this dark green thread aside and move on to the next color, which is our light green, and we're gonna do another forwards knot. So we're gonna hold that light green string tight, fold our white string over in a 4, pull the string through once and twice. And now our white is on the right hand side of that light green, so we're gonna set that aside and pick up our dark blue and forward knots again. So once and twice, and set that aside. Now it's white and white, so make sure you hold your string tight and pay attention to which is your knotting and which is your base string. Once and twice. Remember, left to right, you're generally making forwards knots, and right to left, you're generally making backwards knots. So your forwards knots should look like a 4, and your backwards knots, which we will see later in this video, are going to look like sails. Sorry, I'm just holding these other strings tight so they don't get caught up when I'm tightening this knot here. Set that green aside, pick up the blue, 1 and 2. There we go. Now our white has no more strings to the right of it, so we're going to drop our white string. We're going to move all our strings back, and we're going to go back to the left-hand side. I'm going to lay my strings out again so you guys can see them better. So your strings should still be in the same order. Your white one should just now be at the end. So you should be looking like this. We just moved our white across, so our pattern is dark green, light green, blue, white, dark green, light green, blue, and now our white has come to the end. So we're gonna move our dark green across to be on the other side of the white. Just like candy stripe bracelet, again, we're doing forwards knots here. Now, if you don't want a bracelet that zigzags and you do just want a regular stripey bracelet, I will link the original candy stripe bracelet, I almost said recipe pattern that I posted before. So you can take a look at that if you want, but this bracelet will actually physically have a zigzag in it. So it's a fun bracelet. I don't do it a lot though. I don't know why. Okay. And now we're going to tie across our last string, which was our previous knotting string, in a forwards knot until there is no longer any strings to the right of our knotting string. So we'll lay that all aside. Now that we've got a couple rows done here, you can see our strings are starting to sort themselves out. They're starting to lay flat. They're not all bunched up like they were at the very beginning there. So we're going to continue this through until we reach our next white. So using our light green, we're going to go across all of our knots with forwards, or all of our strings, sorry, with forwards knots until there is no more strings to the right of our knotting string. And remember guys, don't get discouraged the first couple times you do this. Your first couple rows are the hardest. That's where your strings can get messed up the easiest. That's where they can get confused and where things can look strange, is in those first couple of rows. So if that's where your problems are, try and push past those first couple rows until your strings start laying out a bit flatter, and work from there. Even if you screw up these first couple rows, just rearrange your strings the way they need to go. It might look a little weird for a row or two, but just straighten things out where they need to go and keep trying. And then once you've done it a few times, it'll be much easier. Okay, now we're back to the start of our colors. It's not the same white string, but it's the start of our color order. So we're gonna go across with our white string doing forwards knots just like before. Hopefully the lighting isn't too bad in this video. I always try to brighten it with some presets, just because I'm in a basement apartment, so light isn't great to begin with, but it's been so smoky here, and I've been wanting to film videos so I can post consistently, and it's been difficult to get a few good days in a row and stay up on housework and everything, so hopefully it's not too bad and you guys can see what's going on here. Okay, so now we have brought that knotting string all the way across and we no longer have any strings sitting to the right of our knotting string. So now's the fun part. This is where we're gonna start the zigzag. My strings are just a bit tangled here at the bottom. I'm gonna comb them out a bit. Now we're gonna use the same knotting string and we're going to do backwards knots all the way across, and this will start to make our bracelet physically zigzag. So here we go. A backwards knot, remember, is like a forwards knot, but it is the exact opposite. So instead of making fours, we're making sails now. So we're gonna hold on to our base string tight. So in this case, it's our dark blue string. We're going to make a backwards four, so like a sail of a sailboat. And we're gonna pull our string through the hole once, and then twice, and set that blue string aside. Then we're going to grab our next string, which is our light green, and we're going to do more backwards knots. So create your sail holding your light green string tight and your knotting string around your thumb in a sail. Pull the string through the hole once and then twice and set that aside. Then move to your dark green string, holding it tight as your base. Because remember, if you don't, your colors can pop around and you could end up with a dark green knot here instead of a white one. And we don't want that. So make your sail, pull your string through the hole, go once, and go twice. And if you see me sticking out this other finger here, it's to anchor these ones. I find if this is kept taut here, it just prevents these strings that I've already tied around from getting caught up in my current knots. So I don't know if you guys can actually see what my hand is doing here. So I hold my base string here like this, and then I use my middle finger to grab the other strings that I've already tied around and hold everything tight. That's how I actually tie. I don't exaggeratedly make the fours and sails when I'm tying on my own. Just in case you're wondering what the heck my hands are doing there. And we're gonna finish making our backwards knots all the way across. Like that. And now we're going to, there's no more strings to the left of our knotting string anymore. So we're gonna set that aside and we're gonna move back to the right-hand side of our bracelet, and we're gonna pick up the dark blue and we're gonna do backwards knots all the way across again. So starting with this light green one, holding it tight, we're gonna tie a backwards knot around that. And we're gonna keep doing this until we reach our white string again. And then we're going to do the opposite of what we did the last time we hit the white string. I'll show you when we get there. so now there is nothing to the left of our knotting string, so the blue string. So we're gonna go back to the right and we're going to pick up our light green string and do backwards knots all the way across. Until there is no string left to the left of our light green knotting string. If there is still a string on the left-hand side of your knotting string when you're doing these rows, then you need to keep going. You are not done the row yet. Okay, now there's nothing to the left of that green, so let's go back for the dark green. And we aren't at our white yet, so we're gonna go ahead and keep doing backwards knots all the way across. Just like that. And now that we've done that, there is nothing to the left of that green. Now we see we're at our white. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do backwards knots all the way across. Just like we did last time. Remember, we did the first white row like normal. And then we're gonna turn around and do forwards knots with our white string once we've got all the way to the end of this one. These strings are sticking together and getting turned about. Okay, now there's nothing to the left of our white string. That means we've reached the end of the row, but now we're gonna go back. We need to go left to right. So we're gonna switch, and remember, left to right means we're doing forwards knots. So we start making our forwards knots, tying the white over that dark green string again. Oh, I actually really like these colors. Don't you love that when you pick some colors and you're kind of like, meh, whatever, and then you start making the bracelet and you're like, oh, I chose so well. That's kind of the moment I'm having right now. All right, and this will start to bring our bracelet zigzagging back the other direction. As you can see now, we're starting to get this zigzag pattern, which is really fun. Now what I find, and I think it's the reason I probably don't make these a lot, is I generally stack bracelets. Like, I rarely wear just one bracelet at a time. So for me, I like to lay them all flat so I can see them all next to each other. And the zigzag one will just cover up parts of other bracelets. It doesn't really, just the way it isn't straight, and it covers up parts of other patterns. So I think that's why I don't make it as much as I should, because it's a fun pattern. So there's nothing to the right hand side of our white string, which was our knotting string. So we'll go back to the left and go across with our dark green. And now if you look closely, you can see that zigzag is coming back down now. And we'll do this all the way across until we reach our white string again. And then we'll start coming with backwards knots all the way back across to bring our zigzag back. Now, if you wanted to make a bigger zigzag, you could do both sets of strings all the way across, and you'd have two sets of white, green, green, blue white, green, green, blue, white, and then do your zigzags if you wanted a more elongated, exaggerated pattern. But I think just this little zigzag is enough excitement for me. I think the other one would be too exaggerated for me to actually wear, personally. So how is everyone doing? I guess we're getting into summer now. Anyone who's in school, let me know if you're off already or when do you get off. It's so different because I grew up on the other side of the country, and over there we didn't get out till almost the end of June. And here, I think they're out in the next week or so, but they go back to school early. So when do you guys get out, or are you already out? When I was in college, we got out in like April. We were done for the year. So let me know, are you guys headed into summer? Are you studying for exams? Maybe finding some bracelet videos. Maybe you're already on vacation and that's why you're looking at bracelet videos. What are you doing with your time right now? Are you slacking off from your exam studying? But actually, is everyone excited for summer? I'm pretty excited. Gonna try and get some swimming in. Hopefully, I mean, we get really cold, nasty winters here, so hopefully it gets nice and hot. That would be very much appreciated. Nice and hot. I love the sun. I burn. Like, obviously you guys can see my hands. Like, I'm pretty pale. So I burn, but I just love being super toasty. I'm that weird person who doesn't really like air conditioning. Like, I turn it on to cool the room down, and then as soon as the room is as cold as I want it, I turn it off and let it heat back up, and then turn the air conditioning on again to cool it down because I like being warm. I don't know. I think it's stupid that I have to bring a sweater somewhere in the summer. You know what I mean? Like, it's hot out. I shouldn't go into a building and be so cold that I need to have a completely second wardrobe to visit your house. You know what I mean? Or the grocery store or whatever. I shouldn't need to wear pants and a sweater to go to the mall and then a tank top and shorts or a sundress or something outside. It shouldn't be that drastic. Like, cool, not cold. What do you guys think? Okay, now we're at our white string, and we're going to go all the way across with our forwards knots. And then using the same white string, we're gonna come back across with backwards knots to bring that zigzag back. So I'll show you how to do that this one last time, and then we'll meet back together when we are done the length of our bracelet. Okay, so now there is nothing to the right of our knotting string, meaning we are done this row, and we're gonna go back across. So we're going to start making our backwards knots, starting with the string we just knotted around, and come back across. And then the rest of the colors in our pattern are going to follow suit until we reach that white string, until we reach that white string again, and then we'll turn it back around and create the next zigzag. So you're going to repeat this pattern of back and forth for the length of your bracelet, and I will meet you back here when I reach that point to tie off together and finish it up. Okay guys, so it's actually the next day that I'm here finishing this off. It got too dark to film yesterday by the time everything had settled down and I was able to finish this. So we're back the next day, and I apologize right off the top for the kind of orangey yellow lighting right now. It's so smoky outside that it's not sunrise, it is not sunset, it is not late in the afternoon or early in the morning. It is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's just so much smoke outside right now from the forest fires that all the light coming in is like orange. But I wanted to finish this, and I figure we're just braiding off the end of the bracelet here together, so it's not that big of a deal. You can still see what I'm doing. So for this bracelet, I think we'll do a rope braid on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna split my strings into 2 sections. And to do a rope braid, you're going to twist both sections in one direction and then wrap them together in the opposite direction. So hopefully you can see my strings here. So I'm gonna twist these sections going this way, like this, and I'm gonna twist them up pretty good, and then I'm gonna start wrapping them in the opposite direction. So because I've twisted this way, I'm now gonna wrap them together this way. So they're all twisted up nicely. I'm going to start wrapping in the opposite direction that I was twisting in. And this is what keeps it together. I just want it to be kind of tight at the top there. This is what keeps it from unraveling. Like if you just twisted your strings together and then tied a knot at the end, it would just untwist. But because you've got the twists going in opposite directions, it'll actually stick and give you a kind of rope-like finish. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put that long of a tail on it, and I'm just gonna do an overhand knot at the end here. Pull all my strings through. And tie that off. And see, it's stuck together like a little rope. So now we'll go ahead and we will snip our ends. And there you have it. Your finished candy stripe zigzag or diagonal stripe zigzag bracelet. And remember to tie your bracelets on. You can lay it on a flat surface with the bottom facing up. Put your wrist down over it. Take the tail end of your bracelet and shove it through the loop at the start of your bracelet. Let's see, just like so. Create a loop with your tail and pull your knot through that loop and just pull it tight. And there you have it, your zigzag diagonal stripe bracelet. I hope this helped you guys out. I hope you learned a new bracelet style today. And if you guys have any questions or you want me to show you how to do another pattern, let me know down below. If this was helpful, give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more tutorials. I am posting consistently now. I'm trying to post every Friday or Saturday. So there should be another video up next week if you're watching this. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.